No worries, Steve. Thanks for that.
Good idea.
I'll ask the questions because I'm not going to know any of this anyway.
Far away.
All right, here we go. What's the original name for the Great Ocean Road?
The Great Ocean Road.
What about the average ocean road?
No, Lily.
How you going, Tom?
Listen, this is Alan. Alan's doing a story on the Great Ocean Road and I'm just showing him around.
Okay, don't make it too good. There's enough traffic down here already.
I'll do my best. Is there anyone you don't know in this town, Tom? So, Lily, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, good. Do you ride this road a lot?
Used to. I was a motorbike career for 3.5 years, so I used to come down here to sort of clear my head, get away from the traffic, but these days it's just as bad up here now.
It used to be just Christmas and school holidays. Now it seems to be all year round.
Yeah, I've noticed a couple of drivers back before lawn rubbernecking. Don't you just love it, the way they like wave sorry after they've nearly ran you off the road?
Yeah, a friend of mine had an incident a couple of weeks ago, coming around a left-hand blind bend, car completely on his side of the road, had to sort of swerve right. He ended up teetering on the edge of the wrong side of the road.
Was he okay?
Stayed on, he's okay, had to compose himself for a little while, but yeah.
Yes, we were actually just interviewing someone before and they mentioned that this is actually a really dangerous strip of road.
Yeah, it can be. I tend to, if I really want to go hard, I'll try and book into a track day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that way you can go as hard as you want, find out what your bike can do. You've got no oncoming traffic, your surface is predictable, racetrack. All you've got to worry about for is the other punters down there, really.
And see if you're as good a rider as you think you are?
See how many boys I can beat.
Oh, fair enough. This was one of my favourite parts, just as you come out of Lawn.
Yeah, but as Steve was saying, this is the most challenging section of the road. It's tempting to accelerate as soon as you're out of town, but you should ramp up slowly.
Now, this is where you were saying to concentrate on my sight line, because you never know what's coming around the bend or what side of the road they're on.
Yeah, so keep away from the centre line. You know, every time I come around this section, I think about those poor blokes in the 1920s hacking at the rocks with their picks as they made this road for our riding pleasure.
I don't. Hey, remember these huge curves coming into St George River and Cumberland River?
You really got to watch the road and your line around those curves. You don't want to overcommit in terms of speed and lean.
Hey, like this joker right here, that just makes it harder to brake.
I remember that. You know, there's not many spots where it's safe to overtake, so you've got to take it easy and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, well, I noticed that there were plenty of places where traffic can pull off the road, and that's the time to overtake.
Yeah, I'd reckon.
You know, I was surprised about the amount of gravel that's thrown back onto the road, especially near the pull-offs and car parks.
Yeah, this road gets so much wear and tear, it can get a bit rough on the edges where it meets the gravel.
Are you talking about yourself, Tom? Bit rough around the edges?
Yeah, well, it can be even rougher on your knees if you come off. And if you've avoided the gravel, what about those rocks that fell down from the cliff? You've got to keep your eyes open.
Hey, there's a bit of expert riding.
Who, me? Don't you forget it.
No, we're talking about me.
Oh, here's another one of my favourite spots, where you can pull off the road and take in the views.
Because, as you've reminded us many times, you've got to keep your eyes on the road while you're riding.
Well, it's really easy to get distracted, especially for you journos.
Hey, look at that. That's the road up to Mount Defiance.
Yeah, it's really narrow. It was built to suit the vehicles of the time, horse and carts and old jalopies, and while there's been a lot of improvements, you can't re-engineer the coastline.
Yeah, I have to admit, I had to really concentrate on keeping my line on those curves.
And if you keep an eye on the speed advisory signs, you shouldn't have any problem.
You know, I've found a nice rhythm on the twists and turns of the road, but it's surprising how many little things come up that you just don't expect. Like a corner that's a bit sharper than the one before, a car hanging out wide, a slimy little wet spot, or even a pothole.
You know, you're absolutely right.
Hey, what's the name of this place again?
This is Wye River. Remember I was telling you it started life as a timber town? With a mill for processing trees in the nearby hills?
Yep, that's right. And there's the remains of the pier that dates back to the early settlers. Were you one of them, Tom?
Mate, I reckon that pier's got a good 100 years on me.
A good 100 years, you reckon? Hey, and this is where your mate lives, isn't it?
Yep, Graham Smith. He's been restoring classic motorbikes down here for ages.
These are all Graham's bikes.
Wow, that's a 1950s Norton?
Yeah, it is. It's a 1950 Norton Dominator. We raced that for about 15 years. And that's my TZ750. That's a works GP bike, and guys like Agostini, Kenny Roberts, those sort of guys rode those.
Wow, pretty rare.
Very rare. About 100 were made, and so I'd imagine there'd probably be 60 left in the world.
Wow, you've got one of them.
And I've got one of them, yeah.
Cool. So, Graham, how often do you ride the Great Ocean Road?
Oh, as much as I can.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing better than the Ocean Road.
On that bike?
On the R1, yeah, any of the modern Japanese bikes are all very similar. They're all big horsepower, just beautiful bikes.
So, Graham, this one here used to be one of the fastest race bikes you could buy.
And they were banned for being too fast.
Okay, and now you can buy the same horsepower, just about anybody, take it out on the road.
Kenny Roberts raced one of these, and he was the world champion and had trouble hanging on to a TZ750. We've got the modern Yamaha, same thing, 160 horsepower, 160 kilos.
So basically, same bike.
So you get the wrong person on it, and it doesn't have to be a young person, but you get the wrong person on it, and they're just, it's going to be a disaster.
Well, I won't touch it. And if I was to ask, what tips would you have for riders who are new to that road?
Ride to your own capabilities, and don't get led on by someone who can ride faster. Don't try and keep up. And the other thing is stay on the black stuff, because a lot of guys make the big mistake of thinking that they're a little bit wide on a corner, it won't hurt just to go on the gravel for a minute. And at 60k, you're going to come off. You leave the bitumen, hit the gravel, and you're going to hit the ground. And then with the Ocean Road, until they put Armco around everything, you used to slide straight off the edge. So the main thing is, don't let your brain tell you that there's an easy way out. Just stay on the black stuff.
Awesome advice. Hey, Graham, I have to ask, you don't know the original name for the Great Ocean Road, do you?
Yeah, it's the South Coast Road.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
I know you did. But you kept it to yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last stage on the road to Apollo Bay. There's some tricky riding around here, and that nice little section after Cape Patton Lookout that goes all the way down to Scoons Creek.
Oh yeah, that was hard work holding your line there. I was really feeling it by then, and that was one of the times I wished I wasn't on a sports bike. I'm glad we didn't ride back that night.
Jeez, and I thought I was the old bloke here.
Hey, hang on, you are the old bloke here. So here we are riding into Apollo Bay.
So, what do you think of Apollo Bay?
Oh, well, you know, it's more your classic coastal town. It's got a great beach and a really laid-back atmosphere.
Yeah, a nice town to cruise through, but sometimes people around here are too relaxed to look where they're going, so you've got to watch out for them as you ride through. So how'd you find the ride?
I'd give the scenery 9 out of 10, the riding company 3 out of 10.
Hang on.
Ah, look, just kidding. 2 out of 10. Actually,
Jeez.
The riding was much more challenging than I expected.
Well, you know, anything can happen on the Great Ocean Road, and if you're not really prepared, you could end up heading home in an ambulance. If you're lucky. You need all your concentration, good riding skills, and plenty of time to do it safely and enjoy it.
Serious assessment. How would you rate me as a rider?
Oh, yeah. No, fine. Oh, look, I think you got the hang of it eventually.
Oh, eventually. High praise indeed, Tom. I might be a pro rider yet.
Well, I'm sure this trip has taught you a few things that's going to come in very handy on roads to come. So, where are you going next?
Who knows? Like all great experiences, it's not the destination. It's the journey that makes it.
Oh, geez, you're full of it, mate.
Hey, I get paid to write this stuff.
Oh, you've got to believe it. All right, that DVD's looking pretty good. Can I get a copy?
Oh, it'll cost you.
Hang on, I showed you around the Great Ocean Road, mate. You still haven't paid me for the apple juice in Lawn.
Yeah, mate. but you're going to be famous when people see this.
I better be.
No, you will be.
We'll see.